Hey everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 1058 of One Piece. Alright, there's a lot of stuff that happens in this chapter that I'm very excited to get into. If this is your first time on this channel or you've been here before but haven't done so already, do me a solid, like, share, subscribe, do your boy a solid. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, little fun fact, hopefully the next time you guys see me or see a video from me, I'll be a 4th degree black belt. I have a two-day testing, so in about like 3 hours I'm going to be going to that, and then I have another follow-up testing the next day, so hopefully all of you can wish me some luck. Anyway, without much further ado, let's get into this review. Alright guys, chapter 1058. Before I get into this one, I just want to say I was very happy about the reception of 1057. Of course, there were a lot of, other YouTubers and a lot of fans that were just like, it was fine, you guys are tripping. But I was very happy to see that, it wasn't just kind of all accepted by everyone. People didn't just say it's straight. I haven't watched all my favorite reviewers. It's been a really hectic week for me. But I did get to watch Sawyer 7. And I was kind of happy that, he was very critical of chapter 1057, and he had a lot of the same issues that I had. So if you haven't already, check out his video, check out my video on it. We had a lot of similar complaints. He actually went more in depth than I did. One day I hope to get to that level, but I don't want to say that it was bad, but it just the end of Wano just all seemed rushed. There were a lot of factors that were missing. There were a lot of things that I didn't like. There were things that, need to be elaborated on. And, at the end of the day, I think it's still going to be fine as long as, there's callbacks to it. We come full circle and Oda, establishes things a little bit more. But I'm glad that, we as fans are allowed to be a little bit critical and don't have to, just eat everything up, and we can look at things with, nuance. Anyway, 1058, New Emperor. So we start off with cover story. You guys know I love my cover stories, and it is Caesar Clown, aka Gastino, and he is telling the Germa 66 family to take them with him. If you remember from my last review, I was kind of alluding, hoping that that's what would occur, and it seems like that is what will happen. And I'm very excited to see the brilliant minds of Judge and Caesar Clown come together and see how whatever they create, how it plays into the overall story later on. Because, at this point, I think it's kind of obvious that we're going to have a moment where, like, literally pretty much everyone Luffy has ever met, helped, or fought against is going to be present for the final fight. And I cannot wait to get to that moment. Anyway, we start the story and we're back with our crew, and Luffy has been beaten the hell up by Nami. He is suspended from a cage, and he looks battered and bruised, and Nami is giving him all types of hell for, that stunt he pulled where instead of taking the safe way down, they jumped off the waterfall. And I just love this for so many reasons. It's a callback to, the beginning of the story where Nami was always constantly like hitting and berating Luffy and asserting her dominance over him. It's also doubly funny now because, this is a Yonko. And now, like, Luffy the Yonko is still being abused by his underlings. This could only happen in the Straw Hat crew. Well, not only the Straw Hat crew, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, it's just a really funny moment. And then you have a moment where, like, Jinbei's just kind of like, oh, calm down, it's okay. And like Nami's like, no, it's not okay. Don't encourage him. Don't coddle him. It's that kind of behavior that is going to incentivize him to keep doing it. And we get like this little panel where like she's angry. She has the Conqueror Ahaki eyes, and you see lightning. And this is where I get turned off slightly. Don't like get me wrong. I love jokes. I love gags as much as the next person. But a constant complaint I've had, and I've said it I think in numerous past videos, is something that concerns me about One Piece is one thing can be a gag one moment and seriously plot relevant the next. And there's been a bunch of conspiracies and theories and stuff for the longest time about, does Nami have hockey? Why is Nami able to injure Luffy? And I have always said, guys, it's a joke, it's a gag. But I wouldn't be surprised at this point in the story and with everything we've seen if Oda decides to throw that in, and he could easily do that with the fact that like she's been constantly able to hit Luffy. So yeah, we finally get to find out the bounties of the rest of the Straw Hats. Something I really liked is the Straw Hats aren't just considered the crew. The fact that there is a Grand Fleet is widely and heavily known. I feel like that's been a thing forever, but I really like that Oda kind of just, readdresses that like this is the main section, the main force of the Straw Hat Pirates, but they have technically a crew of over 5,000 people, right? I think the number was 5,600. I'm not exactly sure. I could check my phone, but I'm not going to. And so we check out, and so on top of that, something that really shocked me was every member of the main Straw Hats proper, if you will, is considered a commander. So that was super cool to me. I think that's an illusion that later on in the series, each of them is going to be in charge of part of the, different parts of the fleet. And you're going to have moments where like Usopp's lie about being the captain of X amount of people and blah, 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 yada, yada, is going to come true because of this. So I found that to be super cool, super creative, and dope. So we get the bounties. Chopper goes from 100 berries to 1,000. It's kind of insulting. He's frustrated. He's mad. And I totally get it. Also, I just want to say, how at this point does Chopper's Monster Point not have a bounty? Now, I am totally cool with, Chopper himself, having a low bounty. But I do think, like, just how there was, like, a Soga King bounty, there should be a Straw Hat Monster bounty. Because this has to be at least, bare minimum, the third, if not fourth time that, Chopper has used Monster Point amongst people. And, like, for them to not associate it with the Straw Hat Pirates right now is just kind of asinine and ignorant, even as far as the Navy goes. Next up, I believe we have Nami, who has a bounty of, I believe, 366 million. I'm going to be ballparking a lot of these, by the way, just a heads up. So 366 million berries, which is dope. That's good on her. She's upset about it because she's like, even I would come after someone like this. So, now that she's finally a threat, she's recognizing it, but she's also like, dang, people are gonna gun for me. I don't know if I want that. After her, I believe it is Brooke. Brooke has a bounty of, I believe, 381 million berries. After that, you got my boy, God Sniper Usopp. They're putting respect on his name. This man has a bounty of 500 million berry, bro. And I cannot wait to see how that bites him in the ass later and all the hijinks and gags that are going to come of him having such a high bounty, high people coming after him, lower people respecting him being able to like just use it in his favor, and it being a double-edged sword in many situations. It's going to be phenomenal. And once again, I feel like just another one of Usopp's lies coming to fruition about having like a high bounty. I gotta do a video at some point about all of Usopp's lies coming true. And whoops, looks like I missed Frankie. For whatever reason, I do not get this in the slightest how this occurred. But for some reason, on Frankie's bounty poster, it's not even Frankie. They used a picture of the Sunny. Like, I think previous to this, they used a picture of the Battle Frankie, the Frankie Shogun, which I was kind of okay with, kind of understandable. That kind of makes sense. But for them to make it the Sunny, what is going on at the Marines right now, man? They are completely just like, I have no clue how they're like, who is in charge of all of this right now, because they are screwing up and they need to be demoted, because this is such important information, such vital information that is indicative and imperative for like capturing these pirates, and for them to be making such massive mistakes is such a dropping the ball moment. So yeah, he's like at 394 million berries, I believe. It's asinine to say the least. But I do think it's kind of funny because we do see there is like a in a I was about to say OBS, that's the program. SBS, there we go. In SBS, we saw where in a bad timeline, Frankie actually does turn himself into a ship. So I'm just wondering if this is like Oda's callback to that or something. But that was really interesting. Now, after that, we get the bounties completely jump. So from Usopp to Robin, it is a massive jump. She has a bounty of over 900 million berries. It is insane. Once again, being able to read the poneglyphs has really elevated her level. But on top of that, she showcased some great battle prowess. She has new Demonia form that we know nothing about. We can kind of just assume that it's hockey related, but it could also be awakening related, even though to this day, I still feel like her being able to make giant forms of her hands might have been the awakening in and of itself, but we'll find out more about that. But that was an insane jump. Now we get to the top three commanders of the Straw Hat Pirates: Jinbei, Zoro, and Sanji. Sanji is ranked last out of all of them. I freaking love it. I love Sanji. I know that he is one of the wings of the Pirate King, and I know that probably by the end of the series he's going to be the number three. But I love the fact that like this is kind of humbling. He's kind of there. He still has some room to improve. This is only going to strengthen his resolve and getting his number up. And honestly, I just love it because it's a swift kick in the nuts to all the Sanji fans. I love Sanji, but I'm also very Zoro over Sanji. I've been that way forever. I will always exclaim that Zoro is stronger than Sanji. Sanji will never surpass Zoro. And so I feel like this is just another indicator of that. And I just love how like they proceed to make fun of him for the fact that he's under that. So his bounty is at, let me check real quick, 1,032,000,000 berry. So that was phenomenal. Then you have Jinbei next with 1,100,000,000 berry. And then you have the Swordmaster Pirate Hunter Zoro, which, by the way, how is he still being called a Pirate Hunter? But whatever, I digress. At 1,100,000,000 berry. So honestly, the difference between Jinbei and Zoro is actually not that far, not that vast. I'm wondering what like Oda is trying to do here. Maybe he's trying to give Jinbei his veteran minimum. Trying to say that Sanji isn't quite on the level as Jinbei. I mean, at the end of the day, do bounties really matter? They depend on more than just battle prowess and stuff like that. But I do wonder what this is Oda's way of telling us. You know what I'm saying? Next, we go over to the what was it? Cross Guild Alliance, and you have Mihawk holding Buggy at holding Buggy by the well, I think Crocodile is the one holding Buggy, but then you have Mihawk with his sword against his neck. Honestly, it does. Everyone's kind of had this like rumor that like Buggy cannot be killed by Mihawk, but I do feel like if Mihawk wanted Buggy dead, if Mihawk wanted to do damage to Buggy, there has to be something that he could do, especially with how nonchalant he's holding the sword. Because at first it feels kind of like stupid. Like, why would you like hold a sword to someone that's immune to cutting damage, right? But I'm sure that he has some way to make it blunt. We've always heard Zoro say stuff like a sword master can cut whatever they want, can know when to cut, can know when not to cut. So I'm sure he has tricks up his sleeve to like deal like blunt damage. Maybe he can use the side of his blade, something. I wouldn't be surprised. But we finally get the explanation of what occurred and why Buggy is in charge, and it pretty much lines up with what everyone thought. It lines up with what I thought, but we get a bit more of an explanation. And long story short, why basically Crocodile hits up Mihawk and is like, hey, let's be an alliance. With our powers combined, it would really dissuade the Marines from messing with us, from fucking with us. We both don't trust people. I have an organization behind me. I think this would be mutually beneficial for us both. Mihawk is normally, solo dolo, does his own thing, but they've been harassing his island. He constantly has to protect it. He was literally thinking about relocating. So for him, he's like, fuck it, whatever. I guess you're right. Like, working with you would be less of a hassle than having to fight the Marines single-handedly, and having a force behind us would be a lot easier, because as it stands right now, the only things the Marines have to get through would be the monkeys to get to him, right? But now, they would have to go through a whole network of, fighters and other pirates and stuff to even approach him. So I totally understand why Mihawk did this. Now, how Buggy got involved is such a phenomenal story. Long story short, it seems like Crocodile lent Buggy money. Probably they established a relationship during the time that he was a Shichibukai and or warlord. And during that time, I guess Crocodile lent him money to establish and set up Buggy delivery service, Buggy Marines, what have you. However, Buggy, being the piece of shit that he is, probably mismanaged the funds, probably didn't operate things the way that he should have. And actually, well, we do actually learn how Hajrudin and the other giant pirates, the new giant pirates, his best mercenaries, they left to join the Straw Hat fleet. So he lost his best workers. Money wasn't coming in like that. So he's not in a position to pay back Crocodile the money that he lent him. And so so while Buggy is being attacked by the Marines and things aren't looking good, it appears that just out of luck and coincidence's sake, Crocodile comes to collect money from Buggy, and in the process ends up dealing with, the dealing with the Marines that were after Buggy, but then Buggy had to, in return, deal with Crocodile. So I love how that played out. I think that's great story writing. I think it all logically makes consistent sense in the whole, theme of One Piece, right? So anyway, what's next? Oh, can I just say, I thought it was hilarious how, you have, oh, by the way, Mr. 3 is there, and he's like so happy to be working for you again. And Buggy's all upset, like, what, you traitor? And he's like, hey man, I never officially signed up with the Buggy Pirates. Like, we escaped jail together, and then I just kind of hung out with you, but I never officially joined. And I kind of respect that, because it's kind of true. I've never once, like, he just kind of tagged along. I always thought they were just kind of like friends with it. I never really thought that he was tagging along with him. Also, I forgot that his name was Albino. I kind of like it. Or is it Estino? No, I'm thinking Gassino. Albino, yeah. So that was fun. Also, you see the actual like the primary members of Buggy Pirates. You see Alvida, Moji, and I forget who the acrobatic swordsman dude was, but you just see them chilling, eating, while Buggy's just being held at night at sword point, right? And just like begging for mercy, pleading, and they're not surprised in the slightest. They've been with Buggy since day one, everyone minus Alvida, but they've been with him long enough to know that, he's 100% bravado and he is not a great pirate in the slightest. And they're just like, well, we're going to follow Buggy because, things just seem to work out when we're with Buggy. But if, something were to happen to Buggy, if this is where he meets his end, cool, whatever. We're just going to stay with Mihawk and Crocodile. This is 1,000% an upgrade. So that was hilarious. Buggy is so pathetic, but his ability to just survive like a cockroach is something to be admired. You have to admire it. So I don't know, that was really great. And Mihawk and Crocodile come to the conclusion that I came to, like, the first time I ever heard that the Cross Guild was a thing and it was led by Buggy, and that was that, hey, you know what? Screw it. It's better for the target to be on Buggy's back. If they think Buggy is the big bad, if they think that he is the, the issue, then that's less like aggro that, is going to be directed Crocodile and Mihawk's way. But I do think it is kind of funny, the fact that despite Buggy being the head of the Cross Guild, that Mihawk has the higher bounty. So Crocodile has the third highest at 1,965,000,000 berry. Then you have Buggy, who has 3,189,000,000 berry. And then Mihawk is actually higher than Buggy's at 3,590,000,000 berries, which I was just like, I just feel like, the captain should always have the highest bounty. If he's the captain for a reason. He organizes all these people. Why shouldn't he have the highest bounty? I think this might be the first time in One Piece history where the captain didn't have the highest bounty on their respective crew. If I'm incorrect, let me know in the comments. I could be incorrect. I wish I was teching where I could just like have that encyclopedic knowledge of One Piece, but I can't recall another time where a captain wasn't the highest bounty on their crew, right? So yeah, just this whole thing has been great. Oh, I forgot to mention, so the reason that it wasn't even by Buggy's sake that he was like the head of the Cross Guild. Basically, he had one of his minions go and circulate the papers, and just because of the prestige and dignity that he's inspired in all of them, they have a high opinion of him, and they were just like, I'm sorry, I know you told me essentially like just put us all equal, but I truly felt like, I couldn't do that, so I had to give you the top billing. So this actually wasn't Buggy's fault. This wasn't Buggy's hubris. This was one of his underlings. Just an unfortunate consequence of, Buggy's bravado. Anyway, we finish off the chapter with Dragon and, the Revolutionary Army, and they're super, super happy to find that, Sabo is safe and alive. However, Dragon does say if he did kill Cobra, he won't forgive him no matter the reason. And that bothers me profusely because, one, I don't really believe that Sabo would actually ever kill Cobra, but if he did, I know 1,000,000,000% there was a reason for it, and I believe Dragon is smart enough to like actually, if he was given the reason, given like a rational good reason for it, would forgive Sabo. So I just think that's him talking out of anger right now, talking out of confusion right now. And something that hurt my heart is we find out that he's talking to Bartholomew Kuma, and he asks him what happened. And basically Bartholomew Kuma responds with, what exactly does he say? He says, I am yours to command, master. And that confuses the mess out of me, because was Bartholomew Kuma programmed to just obey anyone that talks to him? Or what? Because you would think that he would have some kind of programming that only lets, the Marines or, the Celestial Dragons communicate with him. So, like, I was confused why he's, calling Dragon Master, or if he was... I don't really know what's going on, basically. Also, it's kind of sad that, he... Despite being rescued, he is still under, the programming of Vegapunk. I'm hoping that Vegapunk puts some kind of, backdoor in that they can use to rescue him. But honestly, that is super sad. I hate to see my boy like that. And then we finish off the chapter with a tremendous reveal. It is Sabo trying to make contact with the Revolutionary Army. Well, not trying to. It looks like he has officially done it. However, the Marines are tapping the line, so whatever message he gives to Dragon is also going to be intercepted by the Marines. I cannot wait till next chapter to find out exactly what he says and the ramifications of what he says. Anyway, that has been the conclusion of chapter 1058. Great chapter. I was honestly a breath of fresh air after the last chapter. Didn't really enjoy it, but this one thoroughly enjoyed. Thoroughly is getting us back on track, and I can't wait to go from there. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that review. Make sure you please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, that'll be that. This has been Otaku Talk. I'm your host OD, and signing out. Have a great weekend. Take care and peace. And once again, please wish me luck on this testing because I am nervous.